This title is presented to you by Soundlibra.com. For more audiobooks like this, click the link in the description or visit our website at Soundlibra.com. Empathy, the heart of emotional intelligence.
Welcome to Emotional Intelligence 101. I'm Lisa, and I'm here with Alex as we explore the final pillar of emotional intelligence. Just a quick heads up before we get started. While we're diving deep into mental wellness and emotional health today, remember that this isn't medical advice, so please consult with a professional for your specific needs.
That's a great point, Lisa. Now let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's what connects us as human beings.
This is fascinating because we've spent so much time on self-awareness and emotional regulation. Now we're moving outward to connect with others.
Exactly. Empathy completes our emotional intelligence toolkit. Without it, our self-understanding and emotional control would remain isolated skills rather than integrated abilities.
So before we go further, could you help our listeners understand what empathy actually is?
Great question. At its core, empathy is the capacity to understand and share someone else's emotional state. It's not just sympathy, feeling sorry for someone. It's actually putting yourself in their shoes.
There's a difference between sympathy and empathy.
Absolutely. When you sympathize, you might feel compassion for someone's situation, but you're still separate from it. With empathy, you actually connect with their feelings as if you were experiencing them yourself.
That makes sense. So it's about understanding both intellectually and emotionally what someone else is going through.
Precisely. Psychologists actually identify different types of empathy. There's cognitive empathy, understanding someone else's perspective on an intellectual level. Then there's emotional empathy, feeling what another person feels. And finally, compassionate empathy, understanding someone's feelings and wanting to help.
Three different dimensions. That's helpful to break it down. So someone could be good at understanding intellectually, but not necessarily feeling with the person?
Exactly. You might have a friend who's great at giving advice because they understand your situation logically, but they don't connect with your emotional experience. Or you might feel deeply affected by someone's pain, but not know how to help effectively.
So developing all three types creates a more complete form of empathy.
That's right. And interestingly, research shows that empathy isn't just a personality trait. It's a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time.
That's encouraging. So even if someone feels they're not naturally empathetic, they can improve?
Absolutely. The brain has specific regions dedicated to empathy, and with practice, we can strengthen these neural pathways. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
Let's talk about why empathy matters so much in our lives. Why should we care about developing this skill?
Empathy is fundamental to human connection. It's the glue that binds us in relationships, families, and communities. When we feel understood, we feel valued and connected. This builds trust, which is the foundation for any strong relationship.
Think about it, Alex. When someone truly listens and tries to grasp what you're going through, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
It truly does. In leadership, empathy is crucial for fostering collaboration and motivating teams. Leaders who understand their team members' perspectives and feelings can create environments where people feel safe, respected, and more productive. Imagine a manager who dismisses concerns versus one who genuinely asks, "How are you feeling about this? And what support do you need?"
The latter builds loyalty and engagement. It makes people want to go the extra mile.
Precisely. And on a broader scale, empathy is what drives compassion and creates a more. Next episode, your EI toolkit, putting it all together. Welcome back. This episode completes our journey into emotional intelligence.
It's great to be back, Alex. For anyone just joining us, this is the concluding episode of our Emotional Intelligence 101 series. Can you quickly recap the core ideas we've explored?
Absolutely, Lisa. We've tackled the four key pillars of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. We've looked at how our emotions work, how to spot our triggers, and how to choose our responses instead of just reacting. The main takeaway is that emotional intelligence is about understanding and managing our feelings, not about not having them.
Right, it's about skillful navigation, not emotional suppression. It's so important to get that distinction clear.
Precisely. Emotions are natural signals. Think of them like the warning lights on your car's dashboard. You wouldn't ignore them, but you also wouldn't immediately pull over and abandon the car. You'd assess the signal and take a thoughtful action.
That's a perfect way to put it. So today we're focusing on how to weave these concepts into our daily lives. How do we apply this EI knowledge during stressful work meetings, challenging conversations, or when juggling family demands?
That's the crucial step. Today, we're assembling your complete EI toolkit, the practical strategies you can use to make emotional intelligence a daily habit. We'll start by seeing how the core concepts work together, because that's where their real power lies.
I'm eager to understand how these pieces connect. It's one thing to learn about self-awareness, but how does it directly support empathy or relationship management?
Excellent question. These four pillars are not isolated skills. They form a dynamic, interconnected system. Self-awareness is the bedrock. Without understanding your own emotional landscape, it's incredibly difficult to manage your reactions, recognize what others are feeling, or build strong relationships. It's like trying to build a house without a proper foundation.
So, self-awareness is the starting point. What comes next in this interconnected system?
Following self-awareness is self-management. Once you can identify what you're feeling and why, you gain the power to choose your response. This is where techniques like reframing your thoughts, practicing deep breathing, or taking a strategic pause become invaluable. Self-management acts as the vital bridge between understanding your emotions and interacting effectively with the world around you.
That makes sense. So, after managing my own emotions, I can then focus on social awareness and empathy?
Exactly. Social awareness is the ability to accurately sense what others are feeling and thinking. It relies heavily on those same self-awareness skills, observing emotional cues, understanding context, and recognizing behavioral patterns. The key difference is that you're shifting your focus from your internal world to the external one.
And relationship management is where we bring it all together, using our self-awareness, self-management, and social skills to foster positive connections?
Precisely. Relationship management is the practical application of all the skills we've discussed in your interactions. It's about communicating clearly, resolving conflicts constructively, inspiring others, and building genuine connections. It's the culmination of everything we've learned.
So, they're like building blocks, each one leading to the next?
Not quite in a linear, step-by-step fashion, but they are deeply interconnected. You might find yourself cycling through all four pillars multiple times, even within a single conversation. For instance, you might start with self-awareness, realizing, I'm feeling frustrated. Then you'd employ self-management to calm that frustration. Next, you'd use social awareness to understand the other person's perspective. Finally, you'd apply relationship management skills to communicate your needs effectively. It's a fluid and continuous process.
That's a much clearer picture. So, how do we begin integrating this interconnected system into our everyday lives? What are the first practical steps?
A fantastic starting point is regular emotional journaling. This isn't just about recounting events. It's about cultivating a consistent habit of checking in with your emotional state throughout the day. Try setting aside 3 specific times, perhaps in the morning, around midday, and again in the evening, to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What might be the reason behind this emotion? What likely triggered it?
That sounds very doable. So, it's about brief, regular check ins rather than waiting for big emotional moments?
Precisely. The goal is to build emotional mindfulness. Even if you feel a neutral state, acknowledge that. The consistent practice of turning your attention inward is what truly matters. After a week or two of this, you'll likely start noticing patterns. Specific times of day when you tend to feel more reactive, certain situations that consistently spark strong emotions, or recurring themes in your emotional experiences.
And this regular check in directly strengthens our self awareness, which then supports all the other EI skills.
Absolutely. Consistent, emotional journaling acts like a workout for your self awareness muscle. The stronger it becomes, the quicker you can identify your emotions in real time. Once you can accurately name what you're feeling, you gain the crucial ability to choose your response rather than being driven by an automatic reaction. This leads directly to another essential tool in your toolkit, expanding your emotional vocabulary.
Expanding our emotional vocabulary? You mean learning to describe our feelings with greater precision?
Exactly. Many people rely on a very limited range of words like happy, sad, angry, or scared. However, emotions exist across a wide spectrum with incredible nuance. For example, instead of simply saying, I'm angry, you might actually be feeling frustrated, irritated, betrayed, or deeply disappointed. Each of these distinct feelings warrants a different approach.
How can someone go about building a richer emotional vocabulary?
A great method is to create an emotion wheel or a comprehensive list. Group emotions based on their intensity and how they relate to one another. For instance, under the broad category of anger, you might list annoyed, irritated, frustrated, incensed, furious. Similarly, under sadness, you could include disappointed, melancholy, grief, heartbroken. Then make a conscious effort to use these more specific terms when you're journaling or doing your emotional check ins.
That makes perfect sense. By being more precise about what we're feeling, we can better understand ourselves and develop more appropriate responses.
Indeed, and this precision also significantly aids emotional regulation. When you can accurately label an emotion, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed by it. Think about it this way. If you just feel that something is wrong, it can be vague and anxiety provoking. But if you can identify that feeling as disappointment, you have a much clearer understanding of the situation and can act accordingly.
I love that comparison. So, after refining our emotional vocabulary, what's the next practical strategy for our EI toolkit?
The next step is developing an emotion triggers inventory. This involves identifying the specific situations, people, or even internal thoughts that consistently provoke strong emotional reactions in you. The purpose isn't to assign blame to these triggers, but to recognize your personal patterns so you can better prepare for them.
How would someone go about creating such an inventory?
Refer back to your journal entries. Revisit times when you experienced intense emotions and ask yourself, what was happening just before this emotion surfaced? Who else was present? What were my thoughts at that moment? You'll likely start noticing recurring patterns, such as certain conversation topics, specific types of feedback, or particular circumstances when you tend to be more reactive.
Could you offer an example of what someone might uncover?
Certainly, someone might discover they consistently feel defensive when receiving constructive criticism from a particular colleague. Or they might realize they become irritable when they haven't eaten for a few hours. That familiar feeling of being hangry. Another might find they feel anxious when their schedule becomes too packed. Recognizing these patterns is extremely valuable because it allows you to anticipate and prepare for your triggers.
So, this process shifts us from simply reacting to being able to prepare and respond more effectively.
Exactly. Once you understand your triggers, you can proactively develop strategies. If you know you tend to get hangry, you can make sure to keep snacks on hand. If certain topics tend to spark defensiveness, you can mentally prepare yourself beforehand to approach the conversation with an open and curious mindset. This is where your self-management skills are put to use, leveraging your self-awareness to anticipate and navigate emotional challenges.
So, Self-awareness helps us identify these patterns, and then we use our self-management skills to handle them more skillfully. That's a powerful combination.
It truly is. And this leads us to one of the most practical tools in your EI toolkit, the emotional pause button. We've touched on this before, but let's delve into how to implement it effectively in real-time, high-pressure situations.
I think this is one of the hardest habits to build, remembering to pause when emotions are running hot. Do you have any tips for making it more automatic?
The absolute key is practice. Start by deliberately practicing in low-stakes situations. When you feel a mild emotion beginning to surface, perhaps just a touch of irritation at a minor inconvenience, consciously take a breath and notice it. Don't try to suppress it. Just acknowledge it and take a brief pause before you respond.
So, it's like training wheels for pausing?
Precisely. You're building the muscle memory for that pause. Gradually, as you become more comfortable with pausing during minor emotional moments, you can start applying it to more challenging situations. The goal is to make that pause so ingrained that it becomes your default, even when the emotional stakes are high.
That's a great practical tip. What's another actionable strategy for our toolkit?
Let's talk about active listening, not just as a communication technique, but as an empathy building tool. When you're in a conversation, make a conscious effort to be fully present. This means putting away distractions, making eye contact, and focusing your full attention on what the other person is saying, both verbally and non-verbally.
So, it's about truly hearing, not just waiting for our turn to speak.
Exactly. And active listening involves reflecting back what you've heard, using phrases like, so, if I understand correctly, you're feeling X because of Y. This validates the speaker's experience and ensures you're accurately understanding their perspective. It's a powerful way to demonstrate empathy and build stronger connections.
That sounds like it requires a significant amount of focus, especially when you might be feeling strong emotions yourself.
It does, and that's where self-management comes in. You need to manage your own internal chatter and emotional responses to be fully present for the other person. But the reward is immense. Deeper understanding, fewer misunderstandings, and more authentic relationships.
Beyond active listening, what else can we add to our toolkit for managing relationships effectively?
A crucial element is learning to give and receive feedback constructively. This is a skill that can significantly impact your relationships, both personal and professional. When giving feedback, focus on specific behaviors rather than personal attacks. Frame it with the intention of helping the other person grow or improve.
And how do we receive feedback effectively?
When receiving feedback, try to approach it with curiosity, not defensiveness. Thank the person for sharing their perspective, even if it's difficult to hear. Ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand. Remember, feedback is a gift, offering insights you might not otherwise have. By practicing these skills, you can transform potentially tense situations into opportunities for growth.
It sounds like all these tools, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management, are constantly working together, reinforcing each other.
That's the beauty of it. They're not separate skills to be learned and filed away. They are woven into the fabric of how we interact with ourselves and others. For example, strong self-awareness allows you to recognize when you're starting to feel defensive during a conversation. Your self-management skills kick in, helping you take a pause and choose a more constructive response. This allows you to then engage your social awareness to better understand the other person's viewpoint, leading to more effective relationship management.
So, it's a continuous loop of awareness, choice, and connection.
Precisely. And to maintain and grow your emotional intelligence long term, it's essential to create your own personal EI action plan.
An action plan? What would that involve?
It's about setting specific, measurable goals for your EI development. Based on what you've learned about your triggers, your emotional vocabulary, and your communication patterns, identify 2 to 3 areas you want to focus on. For example, one goal might be, I will practice taking a deep breath before responding to emails that trigger frustration at least 3 times this week. Another could be, I will actively listen and reflect back what I hear in daily conversations, aiming for one instance per day.
So, it's about making concrete commitments to practice these skills regularly.
Exactly. And don't forget to schedule regular reviews of your action plan. Perhaps once a month, check in on your progress. Celebrate the successes, and if you're struggling, adjust your goals or strategies. This ongoing reflection and adaptation are key to making EI a lasting habit.
It sounds like continuous learning and self correction are vital.
They are. And finally, don't underestimate the power of seeking feedback from trusted friends, family members, or colleagues. Ask them specific questions about your communication style or how you handle challenging situations. Frame it positively, like, I'm working on my EI, and I'd appreciate your perspective on how I handled that difficult meeting. What could I have done differently?
That can be nerve wracking, but incredibly insightful.
It can be, but remember, this is part of your developing EI. Being open to feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, is a sign of advanced self-awareness and a commitment to growth. The aim is not perfection, but progress.
Alex, this has been an incredibly comprehensive and practical guide. We've gone from understanding the foundations of emotions to building a robust toolkit for managing ourselves and our relationships.
It's been a fantastic journey, Lisa. The remarkable thing about emotional intelligence is its transformative power. By consciously cultivating these skills, you gain greater control over your inner world and unlock the potential for more fulfilling and authentic connections with others. It empowers you to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs with greater grace and resilience.
And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To manage our emotions like the pros we've learned about in this series. It's about living a richer, more connected life by understanding and skillfully managing our emotional landscape.
Absolutely. We hope you found this series invaluable, and more importantly, that you feel equipped and inspired to put these principles into practice. Remember, every small step you take to build your emotional intelligence contributes to a more positive and resilient you.
It's been a privilege to explore this topic with you and our listeners. The journey of emotional intelligence is ongoing, and the tools we've discussed today are your companions for that continuous growth.
Indeed, we've covered managing your internal world through self-awareness and self-management, and then extending that understanding to connect more deeply with others through social awareness and relationship management. The interconnectedness of these pillars is what makes EI so powerful.
And the practical strategies like journaling, expanding vocabulary, identifying triggers, practicing the pause, active listening, and giving/receiving feedback provide a clear path forward for ongoing development.
It leads to better communication, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of well-being. By consistently applying these tools, you're not just managing your emotions, you're enhancing your overall quality of life.
Thank you for guiding us through this, Alex. This has been a truly empowering series.
The power truly lies with our listeners, Lisa. The commitment to practice is where the transformation happens. Thanks for listening to the series.